Next week in Gothenburg, Sweden, Speedway's kings of the track meet for the 1991 World Individual title. One of the biggest kings of all will be there not as a rider, but as a team manager. Daring Dane Erik Gundersen was world champion 3 times and had even achieved the distinction of being the first rider ever to hold all 4 Speedway world titles at the same time. But life in a world without brakes and gears is a dangerous one, and there's no room for fear. On the 17th of September 1989, in the first heat of the World Team Championships in Bradford, England, his luck ran out.
Og med hvid hjelmfarve Jimmy Nielsen fra Sverige. Der er sekunder til start. På yderbanen sker Erik flot ind. Han er hurtigst nede i første sving.
On the very first bend, all 4 riders lived through their worst nightmare. An horrific crash which was to put all of them out of action for the rest of the championships. Gundersen came off the worst and was rushed into intensive care at a local hospital with a broken neck.
I think I remember lying on the ground, feeling I couldn't breathe and seeing the doctor with me, helping and sticking a plastic tube down me. I think that's what I remember, otherwise the whole day has gone from my memory.
Although he was put on a life support machine, most thought it unlikely he'd survive, and his wife Hella was even reported to have prayed for his death to put him out of his suffering. Gundersen finally awoke, albeit for a short time. Hella's face, he remembers, was pale with worry. She hadn't slept for the 3 days and nights he'd spent in a coma. For 4 more weeks he lay motionless, and the doctor's prognosis was grim.
He had no obvious neurological function below the neck. So all these things were gone. And it was very difficult at that stage to be optimistic. You know, the pointers were that he was going to be left with a severe disability.
But Gundersen was determined to prove the doctors wrong. A little over a month after the accident, he'd already started an intensive rehabilitation program at the specialist spinal hospital in Wakefield. Every limb, every muscle would have to be retrained from scratch. Resident in England for 10 years prior to the accident, Gundersen had built up a loyal following of fans. And during his hospitalization, he received over 3,000 get-well cards. His English teammates from the Cradley Heath Club came to visit, among them Simon Cross, who'd been involved in the crash.
At first, we all, not just in the Cradley team, but I think, I'm speaking for most of the riders in Speedway, we're absolutely devastated by the accident with Erik, and we didn't feel like riding for a while. It was hard at first, but, we all carried on, and, the way things are turning now, Erik's looking really good, and, we're really so pleased for him.
It's like learning to walk as a baby. You have to start afresh with all your movements. All your balance is gone.
From wheelchair to crutches, and in a matter of weeks, Gundersen was surpassing all expectations of recovery.
Just take your time, get your heel down first. It's looking almost human. It's almost human.
This is hard work.
Finally, even the crutches were left by the wayside. But with every improvement, another seemingly insurmountable obstacle loomed ahead.
Jeg faldt ikke.
Whoa.
I've been in a lot of pain, and that will probably continue. But I've learned to take it. That's part of being retrained. It hurts. But it's become a sport to me, and I want to do it. My greatest wish is to become normal again.
And as part of the normalization process, Gundersen chose to go alone to Sweden to continue his rehabilitation without the support of his wife and friends, so that he could get used to looking after himself. Progress in Sweden was slow, but 9 months after the tragic accident, Gundersen returned to his native Denmark to set up home. To mark his incredible recovery, he was asked to make a guest appearance at the Vågen Speedway track in Jutland. Gundersen was determined to do it in style. And what could be more stylish than a tandem parachute jump into a stadium full of adoring fans? Not surprisingly, Gundersen faced this challenge as he'd faced every day since the accident, with a smile. And looking back on the events of 2 years ago, it's not difficult to understand his elation at being back on the track in one piece. The joy of his honorary lap is marred only by the knowledge that he'll never again be able to compete in a speedway race. But happily, he'll be a prominent figure behind the scenes at this year's World Championships, and a glowing example of courage and sheer determination for all who participate.